Hello, thank you for checking out Mr. Ware's videos. And today we're looking at understanding points, lines, and planes. So I'm just going to go over some basic geometric shapes and get a clear understanding of what they are and how to name them. So first we got the point. A point has no size. Is the name used a capital letter, and all the figures below contain points. So everything down here contains points, right? And this is how you show a point. You use a little dot right here, and you say a dot in the capital letter, or you say point P. All right, line. It has zero endpoints. It extends forever in two different directions. Okay, so you have the A and B here, but they're not endpoints. They're just points on the line, and you can use them to name the line. You need two letters to name a line, so you can either say line AB or use this symbol AB with a little arrow on it, with a little line with two arrows on it. Okay, that's a line. Line segment or segment has two endpoints. It's a finite length. It's so many units long. Okay, so it stops and it starts. It's basically what we're saying. So here, this one starts at X and ends at Y. You can name it by saying segment XY, or put a little line over here with the endpoints, not arrows, endpoints above the X and the Y. Okay, here's ray. A ray extends forever like a line, but has one endpoint like the line segment. So it has one endpoint, and it goes on forever in one direction, any direction, but it goes on forever in that direction. Okay, but it does have an endpoint. Okay, to name the ray, you say ray RQ or RQ with a line with one endpoint and one arrow on it. Okay, now a ray is named starting with its endpoint. So it has the one endpoint, starts with R, and you can use any other name point on that ray to have the second one. Here we only got Q, so we're just going to use Q. So this is ray RQ. Alright? And finally we have a plane. Plane extends forever in all directions. So it goes forever in every direction. To name a plane, you can use either one letter or 3 points on that plane. You can't use two because that would be a line, but you use three non-collinear points where they're not in a straight line. So you have 3 points that's not in a straight line, and you can use that to name it. Sometimes you might see the plane named with 4 points, but you only need three that's not in a straight line. So this could be plane FGH or plane V. Okay, let's take a look at some examples. Alright, here it says draw and label a diagram for each figure. So here it says point W. And that's real simple. We're just going to make a point and put a W. Alright, next we've got line MN. Line MN. So I'm going to notice how it's a line, right? And it doesn't have an endpoint. So I just go on and on in both directions there. So it's line MN. Alright, this is a line segment. There's no arrows here. Alright, so that's going to be line segment JK. Put the endpoints J and K to let you know where it starts and stops. And here we have a ray EF. So it has an endpoint and an arrow. So it's going to go on in one direction. And we got to make sure the endpoint has an E because that's what it starts with. So it's going to be EF. And put an arrow on the other end opposite from the E. Okay, let's take a look at a few more examples. Alright, here it says name each figure using words and symbols. So here we have a line, not a line segment because you got the arrows going each way. So we're going to use C and D. We'll make sure we either say line CD or CD with a line on top with two arrows. The line on top is more common than seeing line CD. Alright, next we've got array. It has an endpoint and it goes on forever in one direction. So we're going to name it ST. Can't name it TS. You have to name it ST because you got to start with the endpoint. So that's going to be Ray ST or ST. Alright, now we have a plane. There's a couple ways we can name this plane. We can name it LMN, or just use the 3 letters to name it, or we can use just one letter, this Q, which represents the whole plane. So LMN or plane Q. Alright, finally we have a line segment. It has 2 endpoints, so you really got 2 different ways to name it. You can name it WX or XW, or you can say segment WX or XW. So let's take a look at that one. Segment WX or just WX with the segment here. Now if you put XW, that will work as well. And that's it. That is some basics over geometry. The name of that lesson was Understanding Points, Lines, and Planes. I want to thank you for checking out Mr. Ware's videos. Have a nice day.